Welcome to the Scandi Shift, the podcast where two expat moms talk honestly about building a happy life in Denmark. I'm Selena.
And I'm Meg. And today we're talking about something we get asked all the time, especially by friends and family back home. Is Denmark really as safe and idyllic for kids as it looks?
Okay, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we'll get through the full answer to that big open question today, but it's actually it is a bit of an interesting question in terms of safe and idyllic. Yes, of course, resounding yes.
Yes.
But then I feel like you can live here for a while and there's a gray area to that. And I think that's maybe what we're going to be talking about a little bit today.
Yeah, definitely a gray area. It's more like we're learning what safety means here for kids. And when some things feel unfamiliar or a bit uncomfortable at first, we're actually choosing to lean into it.
Yeah. And this is not about pretending, everything just feels easy. It's about why things just feel a bit off at the beginning. And we've both just decided to embrace the way our kids are raised here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So having my kids here, I think I got folded into the system pretty quickly. A lot of it just kind of worked, to be honest. That doesn't mean there wasn't anything that surprised me. There were definitely moments where I thought, okay, that's different.
What the fuck is happening? Let's just be real.
Yeah.
It's what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, it really is like, what, WTF?
You're so lovely. Gently, maybe I should consider this in their head. What the fuck?
Yeah, in my head, it was definitely what the fuck. But you also don't want to show that. You want to be like, you want to be cool. It's like, yeah, no, I can do this. Yeah, you do that strange, weird thing. I'm fine with it.
Of course. Of course. I'm a cool mom. I'm a Danish mom.
Actually, I have a good example of one of these moments for me. And it was fairly recently at the school.
Yeah.
I turn up, for pickup. And I'm like, oh, where's my son? Looking around. And then I spot this group of boys and girls, 5, maybe 6 years old, all using full-size saws.
What?
And just going at it with this, like a pallet thing, a delivery pallet, wooden things. Okay, the pedagogue seems pretty cool about this, so I'm going to be pretty cool about this. And I go over and I'm like, oh, hi, had a good day. And really, there's hardly any supervision. This guy's got like 15 kids all over these pallets and there's no safety equipment,
no
nothing.
Goggles.
And, I'm like, he's totally cool about it. And they were, pretty focused on what they were doing. And then as I'm sort of adjusting, thinking, oh, this is great, he likes to do this stuff. It's better here.
Carpentry work at an early age.
Exactly. This could come in handy. And then the pedagogue looks at my 4-year-old daughter, who's at this point like, a wanton dog. She's like, I want to be involved. And he just goes, here, and hands her the biggest saw. And so then I've got 2 of my kids like mingled in.
You count 20 fingers and you're hoping 20 fingers come back.
That is a what the fuck moment.
Yes. Okay, I will say, I actually, similar to this, it was not my child, but I remember when I first saw this, we were out in Van Looze for a summer fair, and it was the local spider group. So we're doing demonstrations. I had a...
Wait. What's a spider group?
Okay, so spider is really cool. I'm actually kind of impressed that I might know something here that you don't know. Like, how is that possible?
I knew you're like, yes.
I know. Yes. Let me teach you something.
I'm mama of almost 9 years.
No, so spider group, it's cool. So in the States, we have Boy Scouts and we have Girl Scouts. And I was a Girl Scout. I was a brownie. Woohoo. And then like the Boy Scouts, they move on. And, I actually, side note, I grew up and I dated 2 Eagle Scouts, which is like the highest level of scout in the States, right? Like these
like
boys.
rock star.
Yeah, exactly. That's a rock star Boy Scout is an Eagle Scout. But my husband was very outdoorsy here and into nature, and he was in Spider as well. So Spider here actually isn't divided by sex, so they have both girls and boys.
Of course it's not. Yeah.
No, of course not. And they're all about being out in nature, whittling, like using giant knives. I mean, these kids were like around the same age as what you're talking about, like 4, 5, and they've got these giant, very sharp knives, like maybe those things that like fold down and you put in your pocket.
A pen knife.
Yeah.
Isn't it a pen knife?
Are those really tiny?
Yeah, they have like multiple knives and
oh no, that's a
gadgets
Swiss
on.
Army knife. I have one
Is
of
it?
those. Yeah, mine has a nail file though, so I don't know how intense it is.
We're real experts on this topic.
But anyway, spiders.
Ask us whatever you want about knives.
Yeah, I know. Right? Do you have a knife question? Write in. But I actually think it's pretty cool. We're trying to get my son into it. There's a long wait list, like just like everything that seems cool here. There's some like, oh, do you want to be in it? You should have, put him on the list
at birth.
At birth, exactly. Or he'll get in when he's like 17.
Yeah.
But they had the same thing. They had like a whole bonfire and knives, and then of course my son immediately went to go and grab one, and I'm like, oh, like I guess the troop leader is like, oh. Do you want to start making it? And it was a spear. They were sharpening spears like they were gonna go for a hunt.
Oh my God. Do you know what I will say though? I think over time I've come to this realization that this is clash of culture. This is a classic, let's be honest, you and I, coming from the UK and the US, we come from more of an environment of like fear. Yes. Everything's bad is going to happen.
Yes.
And when you come here, you just realize Danes don't come from that background. No. And they just don't see the same things as us as maybe higher risk or dangerous. And yeah, they just don't prioritize it in that way. But that's because they've been raised in that environment. It's just completely normal. Whereas some foreigners coming in, it is a bit of a shock, to be honest.
That's exactly it. I think that honestly, one of the good examples of this, like a cultural clash or something that might feel uncomfortable for us, is the outdoor sleeping, right?
Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah, right. So one of the things people always ask about is like right after, like, is it as idyllic and like amazing to have kids there as possible? Is like, now seriously, are babies sleeping outside? And then the slight look of horror and piqued interest, it comes into the voice, right? And, it's true. Babies and toddlers are napping outside in their strollers. And it's just not something we do in the States. I mean, I still remember the story of, that Danish woman in New York back at late 90s or something like that. She was at this restaurant in New York and she left her baby out napping, as you would do here with no problem. And she got arrested. And it was a huge deal. There was, coverage in the States. There was coverage, I'm sure, in Denmark. And the really talked about a cultural clash. Like, she was called a negligent parent. She spent several hours in prison. She didn't get her baby back for days. It was insane.
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but it is New York and it is a different place.
It is a
very different place. But actually on that, I didn't get arrested, but in England, we went back for a wedding and we stayed in this local lodge.
Yeah.
And we only had our eldest then, so first kid. And, we just wanted to go and have breakfast, not be disturbed by him because he needed his nap.
Yeah.
And it clashed every single day. So he was crying and completely unsettled and we just couldn't make the timings work. So this one particular day we said, okay, enough's enough. It's pouring down. He'll be great in the stroller. We'll put the rain cover on. We park him up. We put the baby alarm on and we go in through reception to go to the breakfast area.
Yeah.
And immediately, because the lady on reception has seen us with a baby every day at this point, she says, oh, where's your son? And we're like, oh, he's just outside sleeping there. And there was just sheer panic on this woman's face and complete judgment when she then said,
the horror.
Yes, she was like, what? And I just want to say that we parked him outside low windows so we could literally go into the breakfast room, sit and have breakfast. Next to him.
Yeah, it wasn't far.
And we had a baby alarm on, right? Yeah. So we could hear him. But she said, okay, okay, I'll go out. I'll just check on him. I'll keep an eye on him for you. Because you guys are terrible parents and not. So I can see that it can be very shocking for some people.
Well, I wonder for the English, the story of Peter Pan. He's a baby who throws himself out of the pram while napping outside and then escapes to be a Never Neverland boy. So maybe that's the deep-seated fear in all English.
Exactly. We're scarred for life. Actually, those stories and English nursery rhymes have a lot to answer for.
Yeah, they do.
But I have had all my 3 kids here. So I fully believe in them sleeping outside. I've done it with all of them. They sleep better, but it doesn't mean at the beginning, first-time parent, super neurotic. Oh my God, is he alive? Is he alive? Is he too hot? Is he too cold? Like, what is happening? And, I'm talking about right down to -10.
Yeah.
We've done all of that. But all 3 have slept really well, and one of them's still doing it now. But the best thing, and I will just say this, that we ever invested in for that outside sleeping was a balcony stroller.
Wait, what's a balcony stroller?
But it's basically like an old, it's probably like, 10 years plus older, maybe even older. The fifth hand kind of stroller.
Yeah.
Ours we bought and it doesn't even have a brake. Like it was literally only good for a closed off balcony space. But we lived on the 3rd floor and he loved being outside. Yeah. So instead of, carting him up and down the stairs because he only napped in a stroller, then I would get him to sleep on the balcony, rock him in the stroller out there, and then put the baby alarm on. And that was the best investment that we ever made for outdoor sleeping.
That sounds so lovely.
So there's there's real tools for this. It's like a whole thing.
Well, every stroller here is also built for the baby sleeping in it. It's not American style strollers where they're just sitting up or a little reclined. They're rolling beds, like at all time with a duvet, everything. So they're nice and cozy and comfy and, there's all the other stuff. But we pretty much missed the window for our son because when we came here, he had already dropped the nap, right? But when we did come and visit a few years ago, we came and my in-laws watched him for a little while and I got all these pictures of him snuggled up in like this little onesie suit he had and he was happy and I was like, oh wow, he really does like sleeping outdoors. Like this is exciting, maybe we could do this. So fast forward a couple days later, we were up in Noble. My husband had been consulting for a company that had an office there. So we were there and we were about to go to dinner with the founders and stuff. And my son was napping. He was sleeping. We rolled there and he was sleeping. I was like, well, this seems horrible to wake him up and bring him in. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do it Danish style. And I just left him out in front of the building. And again, to your point, this sounds, I'm saying this story, it probably sounds like people were envisioning, or you were even envisioning this massive office building that we've just been like, see ya, bing, bing, take the elevator. No, it was a very small building and we weren't really far. We kind of stepped inside and you're in the office area. And, we were there maybe 15, 20 minutes when all of a sudden someone like pops their head in. And in Danish is like, does anyone know whose baby this is?
Oh,
And I was like, wait. And then someone's like, oh yeah, hold on. And they, like, Meg, someone's asking about the baby. I'm like, oh no, is he awake? Is he awake? And so we run out. He's not. He's sleeping. He's fine. And I get out there, and there's several Danes sort of milling about, looking at me in this way of, what the hell have you been doing? And I was like, wait, like I felt like very confused because
I'm confused. This sounds very un-Danish.
Yeah, right. But okay, now at this point, my son's waking up. I'm like, okay, well, I'll bring him inside. One of the office workers pops out and she's like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And she's like, by the way, yeah, we don't really leave the babies out on the busy streets. It's more like a garden or a cafe. So it's like I tried to do this, but I really got it wrong. I missed the assignment. It's not like, oh, hey, go ahead and throw your baby anywhere. It's like it needs to be calming and then okay. And so, yeah, I completely failed at it. It was not good. I had not gotten it right. And then she's like, okay, well, have a good weekend. Hi.
But even though, I mean, that still sounds a little weird to me.
Yeah,
I've
right?
never experienced that. And I've definitely seen, I mean, you go up on Gammelkongvej, there's babies all over that. That's a hugely busy street. Maybe, Old Boulevard might be a little bit of a stretch. But first of all, I don't think your child would actually sleep very well there. No one would. But, out there, it's still
I still don't understand. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, now I'm curious. Like,
We're gonna have to find
anyone
it.
listening has any weird stories like this to share, because I've never come across this before. I think that this collective trust in society plays a huge role in this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And hearing you say that is what helped to click for me. It's not just about parenting choices. It's just the way things are done here. There is an undercurrent of trust you feel everywhere. People leave bags in their cargo bikes. Phones don't really go missing. There's very little to no pickpocketing. If someone needs help, people really step in.
Yeah,
but
just don't leave your bike.
No.
Bikes are fair game here. That's, as we talked about in a previous, bikes, lock that down.
Yeah. Chain it. Put an old club. Those clubs for cars.
Yeah.
But honestly, coming from the US, the backdrop is so different there, right? For us, I grew up in the 80s and 90s focused on stranger danger, Amber Alerts, constant messaging about what could go wrong.
What's an Amber Alert?
Oh my God. Okay, so an Amber Alert, I actually found out the history of this. I thought it had to do with the color amber, like yellow alert, yellow alert. No, it actually happened. The Amber Alert is named after a missing child named Amber.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
really
it actually, I know. Well, I think so. Basically, what happens is if a child goes missing, they will address an Amber Alert, and what they send out is the messaging of last place the child was seen, what they're wearing, a notice that the child is missing, and any vehicle or descriptions or anything, and it gets sent out to all the police departments, and now it also gets sent to your phone.
Yeah, that's I think that's really helpful.
Yes. So basically, I grew up in this era and in this area as well that is just focused on, I mean, kind of fear, I guess the best way is to say it. It's constant meshing about like what could go wrong.
Yeah.
You're trained to scan for risk, and that creates a totally different baseline in how you think about kids in public spaces and what you do with them in general.
Yeah. That is the helicopter parenting.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from.
It does. It does. We're constantly fearful.
Yeah.
But I want to be really honest. There are still things that give me pause here. Like, as much as I feel very safe with my son here, there are some things that give me pause.
Like what?
The biggest one is the playgrounds. I know. You're like, oh, could it be the traffic? Could be the non-existent pollution here? What could give you pause? No, it's actually the playgrounds. To me, honestly, the climbing equipment is so intense. The netting, they're walking among trees with very, very basic level of what I consider safety. And you're like, are you going to make it? And then a couple of times when my sons needed help, I couldn't get up there. It was so steep. I'm like, how are you up there? It's like, call the fire department, cat in tree, kid on playground. What am I going to do here? But honestly, they are intense. I mean, there's one I haven't even been to that has a roller coaster. The kids pull up the roller coaster, they get into the car, and it goes down a track. No supervision, no helmets, no safety. It's just like, yeah, this is fun.
I have never even heard about this.
I know,
so.
we have to go. I'm actually, I'm
getting a little
out.
bit. Is it weird that I'm getting a little bit excited? Like,
I know.
oh, kids would love that.
I know, right? It would be so much fun. I'm like, well, we'll bring a helmet.
Oh, we've so adjusted already here. Yeah, I understand the playground thing at first. I had similar reactions, and it can look a bit intense, but I think the expectation really is that adults they don't jump in, straight away. They let kids have their freedom, and again, there's this baseline of trust, and if they need to, they jump in.
Yeah. One of the biggest shifts for me, though, has been watching Danish kids and parents, right? So again, coming from that sense of a little bit of fear, everything is a little bit scary. You're kind of raised in the States, at least, that kids are delicate. Like, oh no, they've fallen. Like, there's a lot of parents, a kid falls, and immediately you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But in reality, what we ended up doing and what parents do here, and we started it in California, is we say, up again, right?
Yeah.
Just, oh, so-and-so has fallen, up again. No, oh my gosh, are you okay? There's not even an ask if you're okay. It's more of like, up again, you're fine. And doing that in the States, I will say, if staring could have a volume, the looks that I would get would scream what is wrong with you? What are you, abusive parent? Like, you're not even worried about your kid.
Hashtag bad moms.
Exactly. Bad moms. But here it barely registers. You just say up again.
I love this though, because this resonates hugely with me, because I don't want to be a helicopter parent at all. And I really have embraced the freedom, and I like how it builds kids as they're quite independent and confident from an early age. I will just say, with my 2-year-old, he also gets a little bit more freedom than I think the average 2-year-old, for example, in the UK. But you just know, you hear him going, "Mommy," and you when you actually see where he is, he's probably climbed up one of these ridiculous frames, which is not aimed at a 2-year-old.
No.
Hashtag bad mums got out of my sight within like 20 seconds. And he's just got up there, no problem, but he can't get back down. And I have had this situation when I was pregnant and I couldn't get to him, and I've like 3 Danish dads came over to my rescue and kindly helped. But that made me feel like a bit of a bad mom at the time.
I know. But it is a freedom they foster here. My husband even mentions it to me a lot when he talks about our son testing boundaries. It's very good for his develop, his education. He's touching these boundaries. He's learning about his body. I mean, he really talks about growing up and just the idea of education development, not just being a cerebral thing, which I think of a lot, but really being like a whole body and identity thing. And it really started to get to this point that after being here a year, I started to get more into this. I don't know, maybe it became a little bit more Danish in my thinking. So, as you know, we moved our son from an international school to a Danish børnehave, but not just any Danish børnehave. We're like, no. If we're going to do it, we're going to like really do it. And we put him into a forest børnehave. A skoa børnehave, right? So a skoa børnehave is literally like the kids are out in the forest. They're dressed for the weather. It doesn't matter, rain, sun, snow, everything. Like, they're out there. They're building fires. They're making popcorn. They're in it, and they're really just getting a lot more holistically trained and a lot more confidence.
Exactly. And again, back to that confidence, it's just getting built in early.
Yeah.
And I think that really does shine through with Danes in adulthood, actually.
You're right.
That's at least my perception, when we meet them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So you have your kids in the Danish børnehave, so of course they allow them a bit more freedom to try things. And then, you get to that point with your 2-year-old that I walk in every day, almost every day this time last year, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Selena, but he did it again." And then he's there with a black eye, a big bump on his head, scratches, just because he found a new way that day to test himself.
Yeah.
And this just was like the 6th week in a row. And again, it's one of those, it's like, oh, is he safe? And, you have to get out of your English head sometimes. Of course he's safe. But they just allow them freedom even in the vuggestue, right?
Yeah.
In
Like
the early nursery.
The early nurseries, yeah. I will say, though, a few scratches and a black eye, I would also be like, oh God. And it would test my boundaries.
Like, are you actually watching my kid? Like, what are you guys doing? But the pedagogues I have to say, are amazing in the vuggestue and the børnehave. So no issue there. It was just a few weeks of unfortunate events.
Yeah, I mean,
and a crazy 2-year-old, to be honest.
Testing his limits, testing his boundaries.
Yeah.
And using his body, right? Full education, as my husband would say.
Exactly. Well, I can tell you that he's had that.
But when we talk of the high trust and independence, right? How was it when your eldest started school, actual school? Was it more of the same?
I think it intensifies, to be honest.
Oh my gosh. I don't think my heart can handle that.
It's very fresh in my mind because he only started school. He's in grade 0 right now.
Oh, which is translating grade 0 is kindergarten in the US.
Oh yeah, so but they call it børnehave class, so it's kindergarten class, but it's in the school.
Yeah, they move them out of the little things and kind of get into the institution building.
Yeah, they're in the same building as some of the 3rd, 4th graders.
Yeah,
but a good example of how it intensifies is when you look at the daycares. They have security codes, they have fences. There is some safety stuff there, and kids can't just wander out. That's not the case in a lot of the Danish schools, and definitely not in my son's. So it's open.
Yeah.
So when you first take your kid there, you're like, oh my God, he's 6 years old. He doesn't go anywhere on his own, and
Yeah.
there's no gate, so he could, in theory, just wander off.
Yeah, yeah. No
Um,
gate is like unheard of
yeah.
in the States.
And
You
so
would
no
not.
security. There is security, but then they don't use it on the doors. So the doors are
Right.
always open. That a teacher from
Like I
his
have an alarm, but I never set it.
yeah, exactly. I know it, but of course, it's another one of those things. You just have to embrace it, and now it's not even a thought in my mind. But
Yeah.
recently, I had a really funny conversation with one of the teachers there who told me that a group of grade 0, so Bernie Hale class, same age as my son, were caught halfway to Netto, which is about 500 meters from the school. And it requires crossing a very busy street. So this is
Yeah.
probably why the story is a little bit shocking, to be honest. So a group of fifth graders
All right.
caught
So
them
like
and said, "Hey,
10, 11-year-olds.
what are you doing?" And when they asked this question to them, apparently they just very casually said, "Well, we found 5 kroner and we just wanted to go to Netto and spend it." And I was like, yeah, I feel a bit bad for Netto. I feel like a couple of episodes now we've bashed Netto. It's like, you have a lot to answer for, Netto, but we still love you.
But we do actually. I've now figured out how to use you, and I do like you. But okay, going back to the kids, I actually understand a little bit because first of all, they probably wanted to know if it was real because nobody has cash here.
Yeah.
It is nearly a cashless society.
A little bit more mythical here, isn't it?
Yeah, cash. The
Yeah.
concept of cash is mythical, and they're like, oh, things like you spend money, but I don't ever see money. And so they're probably like, what is this coin? And they're probably learning about money in theory, right? And they're like, I want to see what this can buy. Because nobody sees it. If anything, to be honest, if I found a 5 kroner, I'm like, is this a relic? Is this still valid?
Is this a toy? Yeah.
I mean, okay, so it's just like it happened the other day. My son was playing, I don't know what he was doing, but made some kind of chemical experiment with water and colors and stuff. And he's, quote, selling it to my husband. And I hear them, I'm making dinner, and I hear them from the other room. He goes, Naifa, you need to mobile pay me. It's an app on your phone. You have. So I hear my husband going, ding, ding. And he goes, no, Fa, you have to use your app. Actually use your app. You have to use your mobile app. Mobile app. That's what mobile pay is. Use your app. And I kid you not, this morning he comes to me and he goes, Mama, does my phone have an app called mobile pay? Because I'm going to need it. And I'm like, how do you even know? But oh my God, in seriousness, I do get it because that story you told me about them just wandering off, a group of them to go spend 5 kroner, it makes my stomach flip a little bit. But it's a perfect example of how differently safety and independence are calibrated here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, of course, some of this I still think, okay, just go with it. But I think I'm actually getting used to it. But yeah, over time, maybe letting things go, it doesn't mean that you don't care and you lose all of your own internal values.
Yeah.
You just have to adjust, and caring, it just means something in a different way here.
Yes, it's less like bubble wrapping your kid and just letting them, stay curious, watching your kids see how they respond, adjusting as you go. But it's been a big part of it for me, at least. How do I get to that point?
Exactly. And honestly, this feels like a conversation that we probably need to return to in a few months. As your kid recently started in the school, Bernie Hale, right, in the forest daycare, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of other stories coming out of that. My kid was only just started in school. Things are changing all the time. So, but speaking of stories, for those, they let them do what kind of moments that we all experience. We really want to hear from you, listeners, on what you faced, how you dealt with it, and then we're going to take a selection of these and feature them in a future episode. This is definitely sort of part 1, if you like, of this topic. I think it makes it more fun to know where you are as well. So if you can just let us know where you're based. Oh, sorry, where you're based, where you're from. Because I love the clash of the cultures. That's kind of the theme in everything here, isn't it? So write to us at the Scandi Shift at gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram at the Scandi Shift. Yeah,
definitely. I'd love to hear it. This would be great, right?
Yeah.
And if any of this sounds familiar, no, you're not alone. We're still figuring it out too, right? We're still having this like cringe moments, but we're going to stay cool, calm, and Danish on the outside.
And panic inside, yeah. That's a good message, yeah. But thanks very much for spending part of your day with us.
Yes, thank you. And remember to rate, review, subscribe, and share with a friend who may be in the middle of their own Scandi Shift.
Tack for a day.
Tack for a day.